The hidden trap on your screen, the terrifying scale of online gambling. Imagine you're lounging on the couch, phone in hand, and with just one tap, you could turn $10 into thousands, or lose it all in a blink. That's not some wild fantasy. It's the dark reality of the online gambling world in 2025. This industry isn't just big, it's a massive beast, devouring hundreds of billions of dollars annually, and quietly ruining millions of lives. According to the latest reports from Statista and Grandview Research, global revenue from online gambling has soared past $105 billion in 2025 alone, skyrocketing 34% from the previous year. That's enough cash to buy the entire NFL franchise, build thousands of hospitals, or spend $2 million a day for 140 years and still have leftovers. But behind those glittering numbers lies a horrifying story. Online casinos aren't just profiting from luck, they're delving deep into the human mind, turning ordinary players into addicted victims, drowning in debt and despair. Think about it. In 2024 alone, the US gambling industry raked in over $72 billion from commercial casinos per the American Gaming Association. And that figure is projected to hit $80 billion by the end of 2025 as sports betting explodes online. That doesn't even count the haul from global platforms like Stake.com or apps disguised as sweepstakes casinos. They're not limited to roulette or slots anymore. You can bet on anything, from a soccer match outcome to who wins the presidential election, or even the exact word the White House press secretary will utter in her next briefing. And the scariest part? They're zeroing in on young people, ambitious guys who believe this is a quick path to riches. But in reality, according to Fairleigh Dickinson University research, 10% of men aged 18 to 30 in the US are spiraling into gambling addiction, triple the average population rate. They're not losers, they're highly educated, stable earners, but they're saddled with average debts of up to $100,000 per data from Kindbridge Behavioral Health. One slip on an app could lead to bankruptcy, divorce, or even suicide. Why is this a crisis now? Because online gambling isn't underground anymore. It's woven into pop culture, infiltrating every corner of life. You flip on the TV for an NBA game, and ads from DraftKings or FanDuel bombard you, promising free bets and big bonuses. You scroll TikTok, and influencers flaunt thousands won from a single blackjack hand. But underneath it all is a system designed to hook you, pulling you back time and again until your wallet's empty. And the government? They're not banning it, they're cashing in. In 2025, taxes from gambling in the US alone brought in over $18 billion for states, per the Tax Foundation, funding roads and schools while ignoring the millions crying for help. This isn't just an industry, it's a gigantic trap, and if you're not careful, you could be the next victim. A dark journey through time, the evolution of gambling. Let's rewind time, back to the prehistoric era when humans lived in caves hunting for survival. Even then, the instinct to gamble was alive. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of dice games made from marked animal bones, dating back to 40,000 BCE in Europe and Asia. Those primitive tribes didn't bet money, they wagered food, tools, even lives to decide who led the group or how to divide spoils. By 3000 BCE in Mesopotamia, humans crafted the first six-sided dice, identical to what we use today. That was the start of a millennia-long addiction. In ancient Egypt, around 2000 BCE, gambling became a pastime for the elite. They played Senet, a board game where players bet gold and silver on squares, and losing could mean forfeiting fortunes. Then came Rome, where Emperor Claudius was so obsessed with dice, he wrote a book on it, while gladiator fights became prime betting fodder. But gambling wasn't always fun. It often sparked violence and debt. In ancient China around the 7th century, the first card games emerged, spreading to Europe via traders. In 17th century England, horse racing bets became a national obsession, with thousands gathering at tracks, staking everything from cash to land. But the real turning point hit in the 20th century when gambling morphed into a criminal empire. In the US, the mafia ran underground casinos in Las Vegas and Atlantic City, where Al Capone and Bugsy Siegel built fortunes from blood and bucks. In 1931, Nevada legalized gambling to rescue its economy post-Great Depression, transforming Las Vegas into Sin City. However, by the 1960s, the US government cracked down with the 1961 Wire Act, banning bets over phone lines to fight the mob. But technology changed everything. The internet boomed in the 1990s and the first online casinos popped up, like Inter Casino in 1996. They promised convenience, play at home anonymously with no limits. But laws lagged behind. 2006 marked a massive twist. U.S. Congress passed the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, UI, buried in the Port Security Act, banning gambling companies from taking money online. It seemed like a death blow to the digital scene, but two giants found a loophole: DraftKings and FanDuel. They argued that daily fantasy sports wasn't gambling, but a skill game. You research data, build virtual teams, and bet on their performance. Per the Wall Street Journal, by 2015, these two dominated the DFS market, drawing millions of players. Then in 2018, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, PASPA, opening the floodgates for legal sports betting in states. The result? DraftKings and FanDuel became empires, controlling 85% of the U.S. sports betting market in 2025, with individual revenues topping $10 billion annually. From mobsters to mobile apps, gambling evolved, but its manipulative core remains the same. The psychological trap, dopamine and the scarcity loop. Now, let's dive into the brain, where gambling truly reigns supreme. You think gambling's just about chance? Deadly mistake. It's a psychological weapon honed over decades of research. According to UCLA scientists, gambling triggers the brain's reward system exactly like drugs such as cocaine or heroin. The key? Dopamine, the feel-good hormone that floods you with excitement. But the crazy part is, dopamine doesn't explode when you hit the jackpot. No, it surges hardest right before the outcome. As the roulette wheel spins, the slot machine whirs, or the plinko ball bounces. In that moment, your brain envisions millions of possibilities, and dopamine spikes up to 200% above normal, per Wesleyan University studies. That's why you can't quit. The high is more addictive than the actual win. Casinos exploit this with the scarcity loop, a deadly behavioral cycle I call the scarcity trap. It has three elements. 1, opportunity for big value, like cash or prizes. 2, unpredictable rewards. You might lose everything, win a little, or hit $1 million jackpot. 3, quick repeatability. Just hit the button and the next round starts. Per 800 Gambler, this loop mirrors social media. Refresh Instagram for new likes or check stocks on Robinhood, but with gambling, it's deadlier. University of British Columbia research shows this uncertainty boosts dopamine, especially in risk-sensitive brains, leading to chasing losses, betting more to recover what's gone. And young brains? Perfect targets. The prefrontal cortex, the part handling risk and logical decisions, doesn't fully develop until after 25. Per the APA, young men rely mostly on System 1, fast gut feel thinking, over System 2 logic. Result, they bet higher more often and get hooked twice as fast. Add apps like Stake US that skirt laws with virtual tokens. Buy gold coins in banned states like Texas, play Plinko, and cash out via crypto. Totally legal, but a pure trap. Millions fall in, with 5 million Americans severely addicted per addiction help, leading to depression, job loss, and a 20% suicide rate spike among gamblers. Who are the victims? The smart guys getting duped. You think gambling victims are broke drunks? Totally wrong. Casinos are smarter than that. They target young men with high education and above average incomes, the overconfident types who think they control the odds. Per AP News, 82% of players are males aged 18 to 35, with 10% showing addiction signs. Why? They have disposable cash to risk, and immature brains downplay dangers. Birch's health research reveals this group averages $120,000 in debt, using credit cards to pay it off, fueling an endless cycle. In states with online betting, consumer debt rises 8%, adding $30 per person per AIBM. Companies like DraftKings use big data for targeting. YouTube ads with LeBron James or Kevin Hart dangling bonus bets. In college towns, gambling's cool. Every guy at the bar brags about his parlay. But behind it, destruction. Business Insider reports credit scores drop 0.3% in legalized states, bankruptcies up 15%, and women just 18% of the gambling population, but addiction rates are climbing fast as apps roll out friendlier designs, pastel colors, and slot games disguised as casual fun. What looks harmless is pulling more women into the same trap. Money and power, massive revenues, and hidden benefits. Let's talk cash, the fuel keeping it all going. In 2025, U.S. gambling revenue hit $80 billion, with $18 billion in taxes for the government, per the American Gaming Association. Lobbyists argue legalizing beats banning since people gamble underground anyway. But now states get taxes for schools and highways. In Massachusetts, sports betting brought in $116 million in taxes in 2024, boosting jobs 5% in tourism. Globally, projections hit $153 billion by 2030, per Grand View. But the cost? Millions of shattered families, per NASOA, with gambling eating 14 to 62% of some state budgets. Economic perks exist, but what about the victims? A wake-up call and the future. Can we stop it? Online gambling is becoming an epidemic, rivaling opioids, demolishing American families. From polymarket political bets to key market predictions, boundaries blur. I'm all for free markets, but when it targets youth, we need limits. Ban youth-targeted ads, boost addiction support. If this video got you thinking, hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel right now. Don't miss out on deep dives into financial traps. Subscribe for notifications and join me in uncovering ways to protect yourself. Smash that subscribe button. It could save you from the next trap.